This is a common question that comes up on most buyers when they're looking to purchase a home. Should I skip my home inspection? Stay tuned to the very end of this video. I'm going to give you my take on it. That way you don't make any mistakes when you're purchasing your new property. If this is the first time you're checking out my channel, my name is Seanu Uyehara. I'm an area manager with Geneva Financial, helping you finance your homes all across the country. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned investor, you can hit the description below. There's links to more information. And if you ever need a second opinion, my team is here to help you. You can also find my email below, and we'd be happy to do a no-cost evaluation and see if we can help you out. Now, a home inspection. This is something that you have to take advantage of as a home buyer. Now, the reason why you don't want to skip your home inspection is because this gives you an opportunity to negotiate, and it also gives you an opportunity to find out if there's any underlying issues with the house before you close on the property. Now, I can tell you this, when I bought my first house, my real estate agent didn't tell me to get a home inspection, so I did not get one. And luckily my house was okay and there wasn't any issues. However, there was probably a flood somewhere in the garage. I think the water heater probably busted at some point, but that was the only thing that really caught my eye as far as what could have potentially went wrong. So luckily I was able to get through that process okay, but I would definitely not recommend you skipping out on a home inspection. The cost of the home inspection is going to be based around the size of the home and other features, like if you have a pool or maybe a septic or anything else on the property that you need it to be inspected. So it could range depending on what else they're looking at. And obviously if there's bigger issues like your roof needs to be inspected, you definitely want to get a roofing inspector out there, a well or septic inspection as well. All of these may add to the additional cost to get the inspection done. I still think it's worth the few $100s that you're going to spend to get an entire report to see what is potentially wrong with the house. Now, when you get a home inspection report, this thing is probably like 100 pages long, and they go through the entire house with a fine-tooth comb, top to bottom. They point out everything, the life expectancy, if there's any potential issues, what they could be. So this really gives you an idea if there's any major repairs that have to be done to the property. Now, typically you will do your home inspection up front within your due diligence period. On most purchase contracts, we typically see about 10 days up front for a due diligence period. So within those 10 days, you want to get all your inspections done. Pool inspection, roof inspection, anything that you need done on the property, you want to get that done within that time frame. Your due diligence period is so critical because if there's something that comes up that, let's just say it's such a big ordeal that the seller does not want to fix it, you and the seller cannot come to terms on it, you can back out of your contract and you can protect your earnest money. So this is why this period up front is so critical. So if you're thinking of buying a house, this is where you have to be very, very responsive to your buyer's agent and to your lender, because we're trying to move as fast as we can to get a lot of things done within a short period of time. Now, again, if you can't get your inspections done within your 10 days, typically you can ask for an extension, but that's also something the buyer's agent has to go to the seller and ask them for more time. Could they give it to you? Absolutely. Could they say no? They could also say no as well. So you just want to make sure that you're doing everything in your part as the buyer to make sure that you meet all of the deadlines. Now, with the home inspection, let's just say something major comes up. Like there's something in the attic, there's some beams that were missing. This is actually stuff I've actually saw in a house before. They were now worried, is the roof going to fall in? So then we had to get a roof inspector to come out, validate that the roof was okay. There's no structural issues within the property itself. And that costed the client a few more $100s. We had to ask for an extension. So that way we had enough time so the buyer could make a true decision as to whether or not they wanted to move forward with the house. I've also had clients that went into contract on a property, and during the inspection period, they found mold. So now they had to go back to the seller. They had to ask the seller for more time because they had to get it remediated. And that took a couple of weeks because the seller went through their insurance to get this done. But it was something that they caught during the home inspection period. So this is why you don't want to skip out on this process. And again, for the few $100s that you're going to be spending on the home inspection, it is totally worth its weight in gold because, again, you are literally buying someone else's house. That could be a huge headache. And I've had clients that have bought properties that turned out to be entire headaches. There was one client that comes to mind. She had purchased a home from a house flipper, bought the house, closed on it, and I think within the first few months of living there, she had an issue with the water. She had an issue with the power. There was also foundation issues that started to come around. So this literally turned into such an ordeal. She went through her insurance, tried to get some of it fixed. She actually ended up moving out of the house and had to rent another property because there was so much work that had to be done to the home. She ended up selling the property for a loss, but I can tell you there were how many days she had called me after the fact crying on the phone because she could not believe of how poor of a job this house flipper did. And they weren't willing to work with her to try to make any of these repairs because the deal was done. She closed on the house. There was nothing more to do, but she really wanted them to own up to their mistakes, to fix what needed to be done. She actually ended up going to the real estate division and filing a complaint against that real estate agent as well. So again, you know, these few $100s that you're going to be spending to prevent some of these major issues down the road, it's totally worth it. But also too, you know, that real estate agent that represented that client, that realtor that represented that client should have done a lot more research up front, and she should have done a better job in representing her. It was sad to see a transaction like that happen because I know that this lady was a first-time home buyer and she had her own money saved up, and it was a pride. It was a huge moment for her to become a homeowner. So for her to put all this money and all this work and effort into buying a house to then turn out to be essentially a lemon of a home, she just wasn't going to do all the renovations herself. And again, she sold the property for a loss, and I believe she did not end up buying another property the last time I spoke to her. So again, you don't want these types of issues that come up, and I know a lot of times it may be very rare that you do hear of these type of bad situations, but you don't want that to be you. And again, for the cost of what the home inspection is looking at, it's just totally worth it. And again, it's the peace of mind that you will have as the buyer going into your home. Now, the one thing I will add to this is that when you're even buying a brand new house, you definitely want to get a home inspection. This is something that not a lot of people think about because, again, you're buying a brand new home and you expect everything to be perfect and there's not going to be any issues. But I can tell you that there have been issues with clients that have purchased new homes that the builder just totally skipped out on a few things, or they're moving so fast and slapping these homes up that sometimes they take shortcuts. Now, yes, there's builder warranties and stuff like that that's available, but still spend the money to make sure that there's nothing wrong. Because if you're just going to go in there and just believe the builder that, hey, we put this house together for you and there's nothing wrong with it, you might take it at face value, but they're saying that to everybody. And again, the builder works for the builder. They don't work for you as the home buyer. And if you go into a brand new community without any representation, you don't have a realtor that's looking out for you at the end of the day. And this is why I've always recommended that when you go and buy a new house, still hire a real estate agent to work for you, because they will be able to protect you in these types of situations and give you the advice that you'll need. Because again, if you're a first-time buyer, you're not thinking about all the things that can go wrong in your house. All you're thinking about is, oh my God, I got a brand new house. We got our keys. We're moving in. All the emotions of being a homeowner, and especially the feat of buying a brand new house. It feels good. You're not thinking straight. You're not thinking about all the things that could potentially go wrong and how to fix it. So this is why you always want representation, and you always want to hire a home inspector to make sure they do their job. That way you have peace of mind, whether it's a resale or a brand new home. So make sure you share this video with someone who's thinking of buying a house. Don't let them make the mistake on skipping out a home inspection, and I'll see you on the next video.